Hi everyone, and welcome back to the final chicane with me, Cristinanneboylan. Do I usually say hi everyone or hi guys? Hey guys! I can't remember what I usually say. That's sad. Hi everyone. I think I usually say hi everyone. Anyway, hi everyone. Miami Grand Prix review. My notes on this are honestly like 6 pages long for this weekend, and there was a lot going on, to be fair, so that's not actually too surprising, but we do have a bit to talk about. I feel like I say that every week. There's always something to talk about in Formula One. We know the drill by now, but if you know the drill, you know what's coming next. I'm being nice and I'm giving you a riddle of the week this week, since I think everyone prefers the riddle of the weeks, but I like to switch it up. So you are getting a riddle of the week just this week. It will change next week. Okay, it's a short riddle of the week, and as usual, I'll tell you who the driver is and the story behind them at the end of today's episode. So have a go. Number 2 in Scarlet Flame. Chased the crown but missed the fame. Began with green, ended with the cat. Guess the driver just from that. It's hard, huh? It's hard. I like that one though. I like that I put cat in there. Guys, do you want to hear the good news? Okay. If you've been listening to my podcast episodes before, you know that I'm done college now, just last month, and I'm working on my dissertation, which I'm doing on Formula One. And guess what? It's due today. So it's due at like 11 p.m. tonight. I think like 11:59, so 12. But then I'm done. So while I'm done, I have it uploaded, but like I don't have to even think about it anymore because there's nothing else I can do about it, you know? So I guess I'm just officially done college. I'm done. I'm into the real world now. I'm unemployed. Well, no, I have a job, but not in relation to anything I want to do, you know? So, well, I barely have a job. Honestly, I don't do much, to be fair. But this takes up a lot of my time. So, we're going to have to figure that out. Let's get into the Miami Grand Prix review. The biggest media moment, I don't think I can call it a media moment because it was literally the birth of a human, was obviously the birth of a human. Max's daughter. Max missed media day because of the birth of his daughter, Lily. So that's Lily Verstappen PK, I guess, Lily Verstappen, not too sure. But I believe she was probably born on Monday or Tuesday, and because Max did say that he wanted a few days to be with her. So, yeah, Max is officially a father to a girl. He's a girl dad as well, which is so cute. And yeah, everyone is talking about like the race and genes that that girl will have, and so true. I don't know if she'll want to race, but if she did want to race, I'm pretty sure that she would be insane. So that's exciting. Max is a dad. And that clearly didn't, you know, what is that one famous quote? And it's like, oh, I knew, who was it that said that? I knew he had like a child and wife at home, so he would break. Whatever the full quote is, I can't remember. But that wasn't the case for Max because he drove as he always does, which, and you know, I wouldn't blame him if he didn't. I wouldn't blame him if he started to take things more easily. But yeah, seems that he'll be Max. I wore my pink dress for in honor of Miami because I mean particularly in honor of V Carby. V Carby? Is that what V Carby? Like Barbie? You get it? I don't know if you get it. But yeah, they're oh, I have my Miami hat as well. I got given this when I was interviewing with Red Bull last year. It's Checo one. And I literally forgot that I had it until now. Maybe I'll wear it for the rest of the media moments. Isn't it cute? Kit Kat. Fun fact, I think Kit Kat is probably my favourite chocolate bar. Guys, can you tell I'm really tired today? And I know I said that last week as well, but this time I did actually go to bed at 4 a.m. I wasn't even drinking last night. I did go out, but I wasn't drinking because I had to drive home. And then I started chilling with my family and my auntie and uncle, godfather, in fact. And then, yeah, I dropped them home at like half 3 a.m. So I went to bed at like 4, which was actually like impressive for me to be awake that long without, drinking. I did take a nap in the middle of the day though, so there's also that. So I'm a bit tired today, but we're gonna get through this race review. I'm excited to get outside and get into the sun though and read for once. I'm gonna read today. How I accidentally said the word, what was I thinking apparated was a real word last week? Well, that has encouraged me to read Harry Potter again. So literally since last week I started to reread Harry Potter, and I'm already on book 4, Goblet of Fire, and I don't read that much. I have a book sitting in my room from September that I just can't finish, but I've somehow got through 3.5 Harry Potter books. Again, I've read them before, but this is my second time reading them, so they're good. Something about them, they're just sort of addicting to read, huh? Anyway, back to racing. Sorry guys, sorry. Lots of new helmets for this weekend. I think Lando's was my favourite. He had the disco ball. Now I'm just going Taylor Swift. Disco ball helmet. Mirror ball? What is a mirror ball? Oh my god, I'm just confusing myself. I don't know. He had the cute helmet. Obviously the one that he showed was reflecting light and everything, so he couldn't race in that one. He was racing in a vinyl version, but I liked it. It was fun. Everyone has special helmets for Miami. I don't know, I get it. I saw someone described it as because it's sort of a performance, the American Grand Prix, and I do agree, and I don't necessarily view that as a bad thing. I think the races in America do tend to be more of a performance sort of than thing, and that's just how it is, and I'm fine with that. I love Miami. I really love the Miami race weekend. I know people have their doubts about it and their negativities, but I enjoy it and I'd love to go if anyone wants to bring me one time. And speaking of that, 16-year extension for Miami as well into 2041. What age will you be when that contract runs out? I think I'll be 38. Quick maths. So yeah, that's sticking around for a long time. I feel I don't know, I would never renew a contract that long because you just never know how much the sport is going to change. And it's sort of painful seeing Miami get 16 more years. And I just want to race in Ireland, guys. You know what? Esteban has a new look going on. I don't know, I know what it is. It's a lot with his hair and everything, but F1 Academy were also racing in Miami this weekend, which comes the exciting news that Daniel Ricciardo, if you know, I do manage to bring him up every single episode. He has a clothing brand called Ashante. It's not really merch, it's just sort of a clothing brand that he created, and he wants it to be seen as a brand outside of him, outside of Daniel Ricciardo. But he has partnered with Visa Cash App Orbi F1 Academy as their lifestyle brand. So you can see Ashante on the car and the merch, and it's so cute. I'm so happy that Daniel did that and supporting women in motorsport while he's at it. Happy to see something Daniel related. I mean, I'm sure this was probably put into works again before Daniel got fired by said team. I'd find that part a little awkward, and Daniel obviously wasn't there this weekend, and I don't think he's gonna show up. But a few people from Ashante were there, and Daniel's friends, and yeah, it was nice. Staying with F1 Academy, actually, Miami fans just get everything. I'm so jealous. I'm not gonna pretend it's anything else other than jealousy. I'm just so jealous. I want to be there. They had the launch of F1 Academy Netflix series. What is it called? F1 Academy, I think it's just called F1 Academy. But they had the launch of that. That's so cool. I think they only showed an episode, maybe or two. But yeah, that event going on would be very exciting. It's released on May the 28th, so make sure you're on Netflix for that date. I think it might be UK and Ireland Netflix, I'm hoping. Is it UK and Ireland Netflix, or else I won't even be able to watch it? I mean, I'll obviously figure out a way legally. F1 the movie, the soundtrack was also released this week, which was fun. Don Toliver and Doja Cat have a song, and you know what's so crazy? I'm going to see Don Toliver, flying to Belgium to see him. I'm excited about all the artists. There's many good artists. Madsen Beer, many. And you'll just have to look it up yourself, to be honest. Or I could find the list for you if you want. But the soundtrack seems sort of sly, guys. So I think hopefully the movie lives up to that as well. I'm excited to see the movie. It's coming out soon, huh? Any other media moments? The only other thing I've noticed here is that I'm just obsessed with the V-Carb socials. Like, whoever is controlling that social media is doing such a job, you know? And that could have been me in July when I didn't get the job. But that's okay. Because yeah, they're iconic right now. I love their TikToks. And usually I find like this sort of stuff cringy, but I don't with V-Carb. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. Okay, let's talk about some of the actual racing from the weekend. Obviously, FP1 brought out a red flag with Ollie Behrman, like 4 minutes to go. He had a bit of a spin, which could have been worse because the last thing that you want on a sprint weekend is any disaster in one of the free practices. So then sprint quali obviously was next. Sprint quali was a bit of a mess, huh? Lots of teams left their laps quite late, and some didn't actually make it around to do their final laps. So many didn't get one. Like, I know Yuki didn't get one, and there was some drama about that because I think Max was sent out, Yuki sent out behind him. Max already sort of had a fine time, so really there was no need for that. And Max, I think he ended up pitting. I don't think he even ended up doing that final fast lap, and Yuki was obviously sent out behind him, and he didn't get across the flag in time. Obviously Yuki was also trying to leave room from Max because they didn't want to ruin each other's laps as well. So it just didn't work out for Yuki, unfortunately. Liam and Jack Doohan also had that pit lane incident, which was quite extreme. And then it wasn't only drama between the two Red Bulls. Also, there was a bit of drama between Jack Doohan and Pierre Gasly. Not between them exactly, but in the team between them. Jack definitely was not happy. He called it unacceptable. It was something like Jack had to wait for Pierre, and obviously you don't want to wait for the car, and Pierre had some trouble in the pit lane, stuff like that. But yeah, Jack definitely wasn't happy. So SQ2, by the end of SQ2, we had Hulk out, Ocon, Gasly, Lawson, and then Sainz in P15 out. SQ3, Max set quite an early lap in SQ3. It wasn't the cleanest lap from Max, but it was still quite a good one. Russell did go faster. Russell actually had a really good pole, but then he didn't come back out at all, so he couldn't have improved on that anyway. He had a 1:26.791, like 2/10 off of Max at that point. And Max did his final lap. He went fastest on sector 1. Did he get pole though? No, because guess who got pole? You probably know. I'm sure no one here hasn't actually watched the race, but Kimi Antonelli getting pole was the highlight of the weekend for sure. Like, that's a child. That's a literal child. What age is he? 18? I love Kimi. The vibes of Kimi are just so good, and he was so excited about it, and so were the rest of the team. But obviously, unfortunately, it didn't go as well as he would have hoped for the actual sprint. Yeah, Kimi, with that pole, becomes the youngest pole sitter ever, 2 years younger. 2 years younger than Sebastian was. Also, I qualified Russell, so there was that too. And Russell, our moving in silence man, not the easiest to qualify. Piastri came with P2, Lando P3, and George P5. And without a final lap, that just shows how good George's first lap was, because staying P5 with track evolution, obviously not the easiest thing to hold on to. But P5, good job, George. F1 Academy. Not the greatest weekend for F1 Academy because I guess the weather wasn't great. Race 2 didn't even go ahead, unfortunately, because of the weather. Wet quali as well, so early laps are what counted. There were lots of going off, but in the end, Chambers did get pole, Felbermeyer P8, so pole for the reverse race as well. Well, I'll just stick with F1 Academy and go on to the next race while I'm here. So obviously this was the reverse grid race. Abba Larson had her pit lane start. Ella Lloyd unfortunately had a crash quite early on, which brought out the safety car. And basically the race ended with Dorian Pan getting a win, which was very nice to see. She is an incredible driver, but she has had some bad luck. I always say bad luck this season. So yeah, Dorian Pan, Palmowski, Chambers, and Vug. Now to the sprint race of actual Formula One. Charles, guys, I was late. Like, I was late to watching it, and I just saw on my phone Charles is out. I was like, what do you mean Charles is out? The race hasn't even started yet. He didn't even make it to the race. He crashed out on the way to the grid. Not like an embarrassing crash out, like it was a street track in the rain, and he just didn't keep it together in the end. That was so sad. Like, Charles, what are you doing? But the rain did stop for the start, but the track was still very wet. Some are starting on the wet, some are starting on the intermediates. They did a few laps, but the visibility just wasn't good. Oscar did mention that you couldn't see a thing, so they did another formation lap. Even Max goes off and locks the brakes during that, and Antonelli at the front was saying he couldn't see. So how could you expect anyone else further down in the grid to be able to see? So yeah, it was red flagged because of that. Obviously not safe enough to race. Very disappointing for Charles that he couldn't. It must be painful. And I think Charles got called to the stewards because once he crashed, he kept driving, and apparently that would have been considered unsafe. We did have a standing start, which I'd always prefer a standing start to a rolling start, to be fair. We did have a standing start, and to be fair, I would always prefer a standing start to a rolling start, unless it was in the Daniel days and Daniel was winning, because I feel like it's easier to hold on to your position with a rolling start. I mean, it is easier. So unfortunately for Antonelli, between him and Piastri did get the better start, and Antonelli did end up going off. There was still a lot of spray actually when you were looking at the onboard cameras. I wouldn't have been able to drive in that. Also, you know who had a really good start? Stroll. And I didn't hear no one talking about it. Stroll had a really good start. I swear he gained 5 positions. Maybe I've overcounted there, but I don't think it was further away from that. Lawson also had a decent start as well, actually. So then the sort of incident between Oscar and Kimi was looked up, but no further investigation was that from turn 1. And then, every time you see that someone is being investigated for a starting infringement, you're like, that's it, they're done. But Max was investigated, and for once, no further action. That's crazy. That never happens. They just found out that there was no infringements of the start from Max. Ukes was the first brave one to box onto softs, and he did show a big improvement. And then there was the contact between Max and Kimi in the pit lane. Even Max, when Max doesn't blame on the other driver, they've fucked up, guys. Red Bull obviously just let Max out straight into the path of Kimi, and they did get a penalty for that, rightly so. And then Carlos hit the wall, had a puncture, and he kept driving as well. So that could have been another investigation for unsafe driving. Both the Charles squared might have been done for there. Well, Charles already is. But yeah, there was then debris everywhere. So Sainz retired from the race. Hamilton had a really good overtake on Max as well. Max did have a bit of front damage though, but the overtake was still good. Hamilton looked proper speedy. And then Alonso, just to top it all off, Alonso had a big crash because the Spanish can't finish the race, apparently. And Lando, he did get lucky here. Lando got lucky, be for real, to win this race. Because he hadn't boxed yet, and obviously with the safety car brought from Alonso's crash, Lando could box. And you do need a bit of luck. Some world championships are literally won on luck. It's just part of Formula One as well. So Lando then took the lead from Piastri. Liam had a bit of a spin as well, and basically the race ended Norris, Piastri, Hamilton, Albon for a bit. Russell, Stroll, and Lawson, Behrman, Tsunoda, Antonelli just holding on to a point there for the time being. But then Albon was under investigation for safety car infringement. Behrman and Hulk were also noted. Everyone was being noted, but Behrman did get a 5-second penalty for an unsafe release. Liam got 5 seconds as well, and then Albon got a 5 seconds, which put him from 4th place to 12th. So he was out the points after that. But luckily, he brought it back for the race, because that would have been depressing. Quali did see a bit of drama too. Alex was investigated again for like butting out, absence of better word, in front of the V carb, Barbie carb. No, I could say B carb for this weekend, because it is the V carby, because it is the Barbie carb this weekend, and it's iconic. The pink, I love it. You know what, actually, I wasn't a fan of Mercedes livery and teamwear and race suit. I wasn't a fan of any of it. I don't know. I usually am. Mercedes usually nail it when they do something special for me, but not something special for me. They nail it for me when they do something special. They don't do anything special for me. But I was just not feeling it this race weekend. So yeah, Behrman still not having a great weekend. He was out in Q1. Stroll, Gasly, Alonso and Hulk also out. Q2, Piastri had the best lap of the weekend. I was very impressed by that lap. And he didn't come out for the final run. No surprise there, because if that lap didn't do it for him, like, what's the point? And we saw Lawson doing Bortoleto, Hamilton. And Hadjar then out in Q2. And I really thought Oscar was just going to take pole, considering how good that lap was. Obviously, he could just do that again. And with the evolution, like, he would just nail it. But no, and I'm quite happy about this, because Max got pole. And I feel like Max getting pole in the first race, Grand Prix, quali, was such a cute thing for Lily. Like, on her birth week, Max gets pole. So I like that, to be fair. And it wasn't even his best lap as well. So I don't know if it was just that everyone else sort of just fell off a bit for Q3. But yeah, Piastri P3 in the end as well, not even P2, Norris P2. And yeah, Piastri not even in the top 3 in the end. So we had Verstappen, Norris, Antonelli, Piastri, Russell, Sainz, Albon, Leclerc, Ocon. I've never pronounced a name like that in my life. Ocon. Then the Miami Grand Prix. The driver's parade was the best thing actually about the weekend. No, Kimi pole was the best thing. Kimi pole was the best thing about the weekend. But the driver's parade is one of the best things that's happened in Formula 1 for me. That was so funny. The Lego cars, I'm obsessed. And they were having so much fun. Like, you could actually see the joy on their face, crashing into each other. There was the stats for that Lego car, yeah? 400,000 Lego bricks used, 22,000 hours to make, and maximum speed of 20 kilometers, like a Lego car. And obviously it had like real wheels, but that's so impressive. I didn't even know that was happening. Did we know that was happening, that the driver's parade would be Lego? Did I just miss out on that? Because I was so surprised. But they were having the most fun ever, and it was like 2-to-1 car, so one of the drivers was driving and their teammate was just sitting in the back vibing, and it just looked like so much fun. And then Ollie and Esteban somehow missed the start. Like, they were just behind everyone, so they were just trying to catch up and nearly running over all the stewards in the Lego car, because they were cutting the corners and turns trying to catch up. It was so good. Esteban was just such good vibes this weekend as well, and he always is, but this weekend especially. And people still dislike Esteban, and I don't know why. I mean, I know why some people dislike him, because of, I guess, maybe Pierre fans and Alonso fans, stuff like that. And Max, I guess, if people are still holding the grudge from that incident. But I really like Esteban. I think he's so sweet, and he's such an underrated driver as well. Underrated, well, you know what? He's been in Formula 1 a while, and he deserves that, because he's proving himself. He just hasn't been in a top car. And even in not a top car, he has driven the car so many times. So obviously he's in a Haas, and that was more in Alpine, but he is proving himself in Haas as well so far. So I think we just need to give a bit more appreciation to Esteban Ocon these days. The race was dramatic, not as dramatic as a sprint, I don't think, because the sprint was quite dramatic with things happening left, right and centre towards the end of it especially. But Verstappen and Norris did make contact in turn 2 right at the start. Jack Doohan, he got a puncture. He had contact with Liam Lawson. You know what? Kimi actually had a great start as well. So then we saw the first virtual safety car of the race with Jack Doohan. Stopped on track after that incident. Like, his tyre was completely gone. There was nothing else he could have done. I would have I would have viewed that turn one incident as just that, a turn one incident. I didn't see anything more Jack could have done. Like, he was already practically off the track, and Liam as well. It was just a turn one incident, so there was no penalties or anything for that, which I think was the right decision. Max actually had a feisty start. Did you see how he just like snaps in front of Lando at the start? I like that. That's so satisfying for me to watch when he's just like, that's just Max's aggressive driving style as well. It's not even that aggressive of a move. Like, it's literally just blocking off him at the race start. But he had a good race start. I was quite impressed with that. Lando does go off, that was noted, but there was no further investigation for that. Lawson, obviously he was spun by Jack Doohan in that contact between them at the start, and that ruined his race. He had damage, and he stuck it out until nearly the end of the race, to be fair, but he did end up DNFing. Oscar, clean overtake as well on Antonelli, and Lando also had a good move on Albon. The overtakes were overtaking at this race, which doesn't always happen for the street tracks and Miami sometimes, but they were good this weekend. I was impressed. I was watching the start of the race, not the start of the race, like the middle of the race from a pub, and I didn't even realise. It took me so long to realise the TV was showing Formula One. So I obviously couldn't hear anything. I was just like watching the middle of the race after having missed the start and missed most of it. Because I knew I was going to go home and rewatch it. Like, not even the highlights. I rewatched the entire race, obviously, when I went home. But yeah, I found the TV in the pub, and I was just like looking at it while talking to people. It's like pretending that I was listening to whatever was being said. I couldn't hear anyway. It was quite loud in the pub. There was some really good music on. Anyway, you're not here to talk about my night out. I'm sorry, guys. Norris had a really nice overtake on Russell as well, staying on the lane of overtaking, and not easiest place to overtake as well. And then he had another good overtake on Antonelli. So who got driver of the day? I missed that. I missed who got driver of the day, actually. But Norris, overtake-wise, was sort of slaying that race. Alonso then had a spin, still in front of Liam after the spin, which just shows how awful that V-carb was after that first lap incident for Liam. There was a nice battle between Piastri and Verstappen, and you can tell, like, that's the battle between them. One of the cars would be out if they didn't have the precision that they had. I think they have a lot of trust, or at least Verstappen has a lot of trust in Oscar, that Oscar's not going to, push him off the track, or they're not going to take each other out. And I guess you need to have that. Their driving style, I guess, suits each other, the aggressiveness of it all. But with any other driver, they would have been off, to be fair, with that sort of battle. It was a class move, though. I mean, the biggest team drama was obviously between the Ferraris, and a bit of drama between Williams as well. So the Williams were told to switch positions, team orders, and then switch again, and it was just a bit of a mess. They wanted to switch to put Albon in front. Then after Oscar tucked away Max Verstappen, obviously Lando had to go, and it was less clean. I think their driving style just contrasts a bit, Max and Lando's, because one of them always goes off when they're beside each other. Always. And it was messy. Lando did nearly get taken out. Max locked up and nearly took Lando out of the race, which obviously accidental. Don't think Lando did that I don't think Max did that on purpose, guys. But it was sort of a bit of a moment. Big intake of breath. But Lando did eventually overtake him on lap 18. And Ollie Behrman, because he was having such a lucky weekend, DNF'd as well. He had an engine failure. Oh my god, there's the biggest bird outside. It's a hooded crow. Does anyone else have hooded crows in their house that wake you up at like 7 a.m? Because they scream. You know the noise? Look up the noise that hooded crows make. But we have loads of hooded crows at our house, and I sort of like them. They're sort of cute. They're huge though. They're grey and black. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, Ollie Behrman DNF for an engine failure on lap 28. Alex then forgot that he was in the Williams and overtook Kimi Antonelli. Really good overtake as well. And then Bortoleto also DNF'd with a power unit failure, I believe. So the cars just weren't carring this weekend. They had a bit much. They were in Miami, to be fair. They wanted to chill. They didn't want to race. It's work for them, Oh, and then we nearly had another 3 goes Hamilton sort of moment as well. Do you guys know the moment I'm talking about? I really thought that was going to be it. And from the camera angles as well, it looked like Hamilton was just going to speed past, but he did just tuck in behind Charles there. So yeah, Ferrari were having a lot of issues in that race. Hamilton and Leclerc, the team orders, I guess, were the main issues. Hamilton was fed up with Ferrari. Do I have some of his team radios here? I mean, some of the radios between them. Hamilton says, "You want me to just sit here the whole race?" Ferrari replied, "Their usual, I'll come back to you." Hamilton, "In China, I got out of the way when you were on a different strategy. Have a tea break while you're at it." He told him to have a tea break. Girl, he's so funny. Like, I just love the Ferrari radios. And yeah, he basically was just telling the team that this isn't good enough. And Hamilton made sure to note his disappointment. He literally asked if they want him to let Carlos past while he's at it, because he was so fed up with the team. One safety car and they just crumble. They just don't know what to do with the strategy. So more team radio drama from the Ferraris. Yuki, 5-second penalty for getting in the pit lane, but luckily that didn't affect his result anyway. He wasn't within 5 seconds. He also pitted a lap before the virtual safety car. So if you're wondering what happened with Yuki's race, it was just bad luck because he pitted the lap before the virtual safety car. So he didn't get that free pit stop as others did. And to be honest, his race just went down from there. Not much he could have done. And then the end of the race saw Red Bull protesting, claiming that Russell didn't slow down under the yellow flags. That protest was denied. They didn't even really investigate it, I think, because Russell didn't do that. Or he did slow down enough under the yellow flags, I guess. So the race results ended with Piastri winning first drive. What was the stat that Oscar got? Like, first driver for McLaren to win like 3 consecutive races in a row since, was that Mika Hakkinen? Something like that. Someone quite a while ago. So that's very impressive for Oscar, and I'm very excited for him. Like, this boy, is he going to be a world champion? He could be. One thing for sure is, though, that Lando fans are not happy with that, and they just don't seem to be very happy with McLaren right now. Honestly, I don't see too much of an issue with what the team is doing. I have in the past, but right now I don't see much failure on McLaren's side. We had Lando P2, Russell P3, Verstappen, and Albon. And Albon keeps it this time. Insane. I really want to see Albon on the podium though, and I think he could do it. And yeah, the drama with Hamilton and Sainz did go on until like the very last turn. They had a bit of contact, but both managed to make it out of the race alive. No DNFs there, which was a close one, to be fair. And Oscar then, did you see Oscar made the bet that he would do the gritty if he won? And I really don't think he wanted to, because it's quite an awkward thing as well. And he just learned it at the spot as well. And then he won and he did the gritty, becoming the first Formula 1 driver to ever do the gritty after a win. So at least he got that stat too as well. That was funny though. So the riddle, I'll say it again really quickly. Number 2 in Scarlet Flame, chased the crown but missed the fame, began with green, ended with a cat, guess the driver just from that. So, do you know who it is? The answer is Eddie Irvine. Ended with a cat, like Jaguar. Did you get that part? I liked that part. I was proud of myself for that. So Eddie made his Formula 1 debut with Jordan in 1993. I don't think I've done Eddie before. Sorry if I have done him as a riddle before. But he's Northern Irish, so he's a little closer to home than some of the other drivers. And he quite immediately had a bit of a clash with Ayrton Senna. On track anyway. He joined Ferrari in 1996 as Michael Schumacher's teammate. Definitely not the person you'd really want to be teammates with, because Michael Schumacher, obviously one of the best Formula 1 drivers of all time. So Eddie was often, because of that, in a supporting role in the team, but he was still quick and reliable. His standout season did come in 1999 when Schumacher was injured mid-season. So Irvine became Ferrari's main championship contender, but he finished second overall. He just lost the title to Mika Hakkinen. He moved to Jaguar from 2000 to 2002. But that team wasn't the best, to be fair. They struggled a bit, but Eddie did secure their only 2 podiums, and then he retired in 2002. So he's never won a championship, but he came very close. He's seen as one of the best drivers to never win a championship. There are a few. And yeah, post-racing, he did step back from actually racing, but he was still quite prevalent in media, and he was known for his lavish style, lavish lifestyle even, and some business ventures. And yeah, he's quite the character. That was your riddle of the week. What race is next? Imola. That's Italy. Guys, do you know that I did the tasting foods from each country TikTok? So then I'll be able to do Italy next week, and that's just going to be Italian food, which I'm excited for because I've been struggling with the other ones. It's not easy. Honestly, I didn't do much for Miami. One thing my county doesn't have is Cuban food. So, and Cuban is obviously one of the main foods of Miami. We did do the Miami Vice cocktail though, so that was, I didn't actually like that cocktail, but I think we just made it really bad as well. So yeah, but we've Italy next week. That's going to be fun. So if you want to see that, you can follow my TikTok, cristinanneboylan. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope the weather is as nice wherever you are as it is for me, because it's really sunny, and I'm going to go out and edit this podcast outside. Maybe. I don't know. I won't be able to see my laptop if it's really bright though. I hope you enjoyed this recap. You probably didn't, because I probably change topic every 2 seconds. And I will see you for Imola. Bye.